Trying to find great candidates to hire is like trying to find a needle in the haystack. There's so many applications and not enough qualified candidates with the right skills and experience. But not with ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter finds amazing candidates for you fast. And right now, you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/work. ZipRecruiter's smart technology identifies top talent for you and your roles quickly. Immediately after you post your job on ZipRecruiter, their powerful matching technology starts showing you people that are qualified to work for your organization. You can use ZipRecruiter's invite to apply message to personally reach out to your favorite candidates and encourage them to apply sooner rather than later. Ditch the other hiring sites and let ZipRecruiter find what you're looking for, the needle in the haystack. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try it for free at this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/work. Again, that's ziprecruiter.com/work. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another elite episode of the Get Authentic with Marques show. I'm your host, Marques Ogden. On today's episode, we are joined by Mr. David Singer. And you know what? Let's bring him on down. How you doing today, David?
Hey, Marques. How are you?
I'm doing well, my friend. First question, David. Yeah. What does the word authentic/authenticity mean to you?
Being real, being honest, even when it's not so convenient or even safe, living your true life, just being genuine,
You know, David, what you said was very compelling, but the part that I really resonated most with is you talking about being who you are and being okay with who you are when it's not safe. And
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah.
So many people want to be accepted. They want to be liked by everybody. They want to have everybody love them and stuff like that. And I understand that's basically the normal disposition, but you can't have that you can't sacrifice who you really are at your core and be unhappy, unfulfilled, and just live in what I call the comfort zone just so you can quote unquote fit in and or be liked by everyone. What's your thoughts on that?
Of course, ultimately, it gets to you in the end. It just kind of eats away if you're living a lie, or if you're just not being who you are. We have to, if you get married and you kind of do your dance a little bit, and you do whatever you can to make your wife happy and yourself, fulfilled and everything, and helping others. Helping others, I think, is it's part of my character, and so I'm doing it even today. So that's part of it too. But just living in harmony with yourself, I think is very, very important. I speak about harmony because my life has been about being involved with music. Of course, I had to do other things like you. I've been reading about you. Your life has been incredibly inspiring. But just the idea of, for me, playing in Carnegie Hall, playing with great musicians, and then because, well, my wife wanted to leave New York and move back to Seattle, and we weren't doing great financially, and so, I did other things. I never did anything with my hands. My dad said, you better play real well, you better play the clarinet real well because you can't do anything else. Well, I found myself climbing fences and running from guard dogs, trying to sell my welding rod to the welders of companies that had the welders in the back. They didn't want salesmen bothering them during the day. So, but that's how I did it. And like you, I've had to reinvent myself a few times, driving a cab, playing for the president, and the same day going back to New York and getting in my cab, driving the night shift. I mean, it's been a wild ride, and I'm just very thankful for everything that I have.
David, would love to hear more about your story and where you come from, how you started, your journey in music, and then some of the challenges you've had to overcome and persevere through
Yeah,
along the way.
yeah. Well, I mean, it really started. It's a hard thing to talk about, but I guess it's really pertinent here. I was abused as a kid,
Mm.
and the two people who did the worst damage really were the ones closest to me. Hate to admit it, but it was my parents. And my mom would come in and was a little boy and say, "You better not go to sleep because I'm going to come in here and kill you." I mean, she did things like that. And when you're a little kid, you don't know what's normal, what's not normal. My parents used to fight like crazy, yet I would pray that they would stay together. I didn't, I mean, I couldn't think of what was going to be like if they split up. And we didn't have much money. My dad was a school teacher. My mom was a housewife. So I don't know. It was just, that was the beginning. And then I didn't have any kind of a fallback once I graduated high school. And so I went to school to play the clarinet. It's very impractical, and it was very difficult. Just making a living and doing all kinds of crazy things to survive. And so somehow I came out the other side and became part of a Grammy Award-winning group. I started playing in a group called Orpheus in New York, and we played with Herbie Hancock. We played with some great musicians, and we started with playing for free, ended up winning Grammy Awards. I became a professor of music. I never even got a bachelor's degree because I was playing with Branford Marsalis. Do you know who he was, the head of the Tonight Show? I'm doing a lot of stuff, and so I became a professor and the music was almost like at Montclair State University. We had almost no students, and I was part of a team that recruited. And by the time I left 23 years later, we had the Choice building at the entrance of the school. We had multi-million-dollar concert halls on campus. I wasn't the only reason that we made money through the department. But anyway, I was lucky, and I feel very fortunate, very grateful again, for what I have. So
I took notice of something, David. You talk about all the things you went through, the challenges, the upbringing, the music, all the stuff that you've done. And I really, really respect how honest and authentic you are about some of the things you had to work through and the challenges. So, my first question for you,
yeah,
so I went through some challenges as well. Our parents divorced when I was 8. My
mm,
mother and I did not and still do not have the best relationship. So there were some challenges that we had, or I had in that regard.
sure,
And I'm very honest about that. But I'd like to hear from you. So, like for me, sports was my quote unquote escape
yeah,
to get myself into a better training. Now, my father was amazing. Our dad was the best, and we were with him primary custody full time. So,
ah,
I had a great, great household with him and I and my brother. But unfortunately, my dad with some financial challenges in his life early, from putting us through high school and things of that nature. But he was always just a great individual. But for me, right, Dave, sports
yeah,
was an outlet.
yeah.
What did music do for you? How did you become such a great musician, such a great player of an instrument with all the things you went through. And how did music help you to escape those hardships?
Music for me, I mean, I love sports too. I love sports, and I was pretty good as a pitcher, in high school. But I admitted to my dad when I was out in the field playing in the later innings of a baseball game, I used to pray. I used to pray that the ball wouldn't be hit to me. I just didn't want to be one of those people that decided either way, whether we were going to win or lose. Music was, to me, was all about communicating feelings. And that's what something, I don't know why, but it's just something that always attracted me. Something, when I wanted to get the attention of a girl. I was in third grade and she was going to enter a talent show and I wanted to enter a talent show. Well, my dad said, well, you don't know how to do anything. But he started bringing home instruments. He was the local band director, the high school band director, and I played the clarinet, won the competition. And one year we went, actually, my dad being a teacher, he took every 7 years, they got a year off with half pay. And so we went to Europe to visit relatives who were still left over from, they were still alive. A lot of my family were killed by the Nazis in World War II. So that's part of what my book, From Cab Driver to Carnegie Hall, is about. My grandparents. So my dad just barely escaped the Nazis and came in 1933 and ended up was awarded a Bronze Star at the Battle of the Bulge. Anyway. Being around musicians, seeing how much fun they were having. My parents were sort of amateur musicians. They'd have friends over at the house. So being around music was just something that seemed genuine to me. I mean, what's more genuine than expressing your feelings? And so that's what attracted me. That's what I wanted to be part of. That's what I wanted. I wanted music to be part of my life, and I wanted to be part of the music world, and that's what I did. And I had ups and downs, of course. There was a fire once I was practicing in my first year of school. I wanted to be outside. I grew up being outside playing sports. And then when I went to music school in Philadelphia, very different from LA, it was like just about practicing all day, and everybody was like very pale and pimply and all that, and because they just stayed inside, very against my nature. So I was practicing one day, bang, 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 the fire marshal said, get out, the building's on fire, you got to get out. So I was so frustrated because I just wasn't playing well. I had my clarinets, I left them on the floor of the living room, and I left the apartment. And the flames were starting to smell the smoke, and I spent the whole day at a friend's house hearing the ding 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 ding, the all kinds of fire engines and all kinds of stuff going on, knowing that I left my clarinets in the apartment on the floor, unprotected. If anything had happened to them, that would have been it. No more music for me. I would have been who knows what. So the hours later, I come back to my apartment. There's broken glass everywhere. There's all kinds of, everything is charred and had been burned. I opened the door of my apartment and there's everything, nothing was touched. My clarinets were there. It was like a sign from God. This is what I'm supposed to do. So I just, it kept going, and that's it. It worked out really well for me.
Dave, now I want to get into From Cab Driver to Carnegie Hall. I want to really dive in because by grace of hard work and good fortune, my good friend, I'm a 5-time best-selling author. Wow. Twice by myself, 3 with other individuals. So I know how hard it is to write a book firsthand. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Wow. But this book sounds so amazing, so compelling, with all types of great lessons and stories. So let's start there. Please tell our audience, our global audience, What is your book From Cab Driver to Carnegie Hall all about? We'll start there.
Well, it's about driving a cab, going to Carnegie Hall, performing in Carnegie Hall, making recordings, selling welding rod, doing everything almost very close to each other. It's living on a razor's edge of an artist or wannabe artist, and getting opportunities and having to make life decisions, having to quit music for a while and move across the country and do other things. It's about overcoming obstacles. It's about it's about it's about really figuring out what's important. And I read a book a long time ago called "What Color is Your Parachute?" And it was a really great book because it was like a bunch of games and questions and that you would answer, and it would come to some conclusion based on how you answered the questions, what you're supposed to be doing with your life. And for me, it was children and working with kids and music. And so I started a program called Music Magic in Seattle for very young children in the schools. And it was a success, and I did it in New York. And that helped me be able to actually become a professor. They saw that I was good at figuring out a program that didn't exist, implementing it, making it successful, and they thought I could help with recruitment at Montclair State, and it worked. So it's about being successful. There are some funny stories as well. I mean, there was a story. I was so poor and my school was free. If you got into Curtis, it was free. Very hard. Juilliard, you can really pay your way in. Juilliard is a famous school.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Curtis Institute of Music, Leonard Bernstein, a lot of famous musicians went there. And if you got in, like I say, it's free. So anyway, one day, my roommate and I, once a week, we'd go to this place called Harvey House. It was a hamburger place. And we'd order a hamburger and we'd split it. And that was our like big, splurge. And so one day we were in line and we saw on a table nearby, there were two cheeseburgers sitting at a table, and nobody was there. And we got to the front of the line and we just looked at each other. We saw the cheeseburgers. We sat down. Nobody was there. Nobody came to the table. We started eating the cheeseburgers, and suddenly, I don't know if you've ever had this feeling that somebody was behind. It's just, I could feel the eyes on the back of my neck, my head. They were looking at me, and I was like, oh my God, I was so embarrassed. I was eating somebody's food. Turned out this elderly couple, and they said, oh, you must be from Curtis, because it was sort of known that, a lot of Curtis students didn't have any money. So they said, that's okay. And they left, and we got to enjoy their cheeseburgers. But anyway, that's sort of the way it was for me for a long time.
David, I really love the stories mixed in with the action steps of things you had to go through. Like you said, the school you went to, the hardships, how you overcame, how you continue to press forward.
Yeah.
These are very great, I call them nuggets of wisdom, because at the end of the day, right, my friend, you're really working on trying to get people to see that all you've gone through, you've had to work hard to get there. And I want people to understand that, because I tell people all the time, right? It's all about your attributes over your skill sets, right? So you've always shown perseverance, grit, determination over just the external acts of playing the instrument, learning how to play the instrument, which is hard, but the attributes, the things you can't see, those are vital to have, because those are going to get you through the hard times. So I have a question, right, Dave? For somebody that picks up this awesome book, right, From Cab Driver to Carnegie Hall, what's one main attribute you can think of, like either determination, perseverance, resilience, grit? And again, I know they're all kind of like first cousins, things like that, and I get that. But I have perseverance tattooed on my right elbow line, determination on my left elbow line, and I've lived by both of those two words, because every time I get knocked down, I get right back up.
Yeah.
So, what would you say in this book, right, Dave, is that maybe one attribute, one key trait people are going to be able to see and gain to then start applying that in their own life?
It's never giving up. It's never giving up. And understanding that if you want to change your life, it can be small steps, but every day something towards what your goal is. When I was selling welding rod and I was fighting for custody of my daughter, who was 6 at the time, it was tough. But I knew that I wanted to get back to New York with her and ultimately play again. So I never stopped practicing, even when I was selling welding rod, working, teaching music at her school and other schools. I saved time. Even when I had no place to play, I kept going with it. I kept doing the exercises. I kept staying with the dream. And little by little, again, with the music program, I started making much more money than I was doing selling welding rod. And then we were able to move back to New York. I got in with this group playing for nothing. But then very shortly after that, we got a break in Carnegie Hall. And suddenly we had a manager and we had an international recording contract, and we were all over winning Grammy Awards. So I was lucky, but I persevered. I stayed with it, and I just couldn't see myself. My spirit wouldn't allow me to give up. It just wouldn't. I just couldn't do it. So I just kept going. So not giving up and working every day towards your goal, even when there's small steps involved. Every day, do something to make your dream, your goal happen.
David, I love this. And I'm going to really touch on the dreams part, right? Dreams are from the emotion part of our being, right? It's something that we really want and we can like visualize, conceptualize to see. So I tell you, having that emotion part is big. Having dreams are important. The other side of it, right, Dave, is the logical side, which is the action step and actually the system, right, that you have to have, or the plan, right, you have to have. So I tell people all the time, right, David, systems are hero making machines, right? They turn people's dreams into their everyday reality by utilizing proven systems to take them from where they are to where they want to be. Can you explain to our audience from a system standpoint, what were you doing in order to, like you said, once things started to like happen on the positive side with music, how did you continue to work the system and eventually win Grammys, become international? Because
Right.
again, right, David, I want people to learn from your story
Right.
that the dream was huge, but the systems and the action steps were even bigger or more huge that you
Sure.
put in to get where you're at today.
Sure. So I don't remember. It was a long time ago. There was I guess he was a coach, a kind of a coach, and I think it was for the New York Yankees. He was a motivational speaker or motivational coach, and he had this word called SCORE, SCORE, score. So S is for self-discipline, the work. You've got to put in the work to what you want to do. So that's S. C has to do with concentrating on sending all negative energy away. Okay, so S is the work, the self-discipline to do what you want to do, practice, whatever it is, build yourself up, get stronger, whatever it is. That's what S is. C is anything negative. You can't do it. I'm too small. I'm not fast enough. I'm not smart enough, whatever. So send negative energy, concentrate on sending negative energy away. O is optimism. remember any semblance of success you've had in your past and be thinking about that. That's what you focus on, being optimistic. SEOR is relaxation from fear. Relaxation from fear. Don't be afraid to do something. Don't be afraid to write something. Do it. So SEOR, relaxation from fear, and E, enjoyment. Love what you do. Love the process of what you're doing. So that word, self-discipline, do what you're going to do every day. C, concentrate on sending all negative energy away. O, optimism, be optimistic. R, relaxation from fear. Don't be fearful about anything. You go into it. When you go out on stage, it's not so easy. You got people paying a lot of money, and I don't care who you are, you get nervous and you get a little scared. And I'm sure playing the NFL, my God. And I'm remembering your name. I remember that you were a great football player. So you know what that's about, but you do your thing. So relaxation from fear, and E, love enjoyment, love what you do. That really meant a lot to me, that word.
David, fantastic interview. A great guy, a Grammy-winning musician, an author from cab driver to Carnegie Hall, an individual that just puts in work every day and gets things done and just keeps working the system. And you heard him say, "Let me be my authentic tip." So I'll come back to that in a moment. David, how can our audience get in touch with you and buy your book and support you?
Well, thank you. I have a website, my last name, Singer, S as in Sam, INGER, Singer Clarinet, CLARINET at Gmail, singerclarinet@gmail.com. It's funny. I don't know if I should tell you this or not, but it was just, my book was selected as part of the collection of the Los Angeles Public Library. I'm in Minneapolis in stores. Actually, well, of course, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, it's there. But yeah, I'm all over the place. So that's I was joking about the library thing because now it's in Minneapolis, like I say, it's in England, it's in all over the place. It's where you can get it for free. But yeah, if you're interested, I think it's a life story. Again, overcoming obstacles, something you're very familiar with too, Marques.
I am. Well, again, David, thank you so much. Everybody, David Singer, fantastic individual, great energy, great show. We want to really, really lean into this authentic tip. As we know, we have an acronym for BISON: boldness, integrity, self-awareness, ownership, the N, never quit. You heard David say it. Never quit under any circumstances. Right. When you're able to do that, then everything else in your life will move forward. So again, please, please, please never quit under any circumstances. Right. Again, my name is Marques Ogden. I am the host of the Get Authentic with Marques show. Thanks for tuning in. Have a fantastic day.
Thanks, Marques.